If you think philosophy has no importance in today's climate, you might want to consider staying around for this short video. Felt like making this video about this topic because it's important. I've actually been doing these principles unbeknownst to me most of my life. So in order to make this a short video, I'll now read off the lessons quick with a brief description and also give you an example afterwards, good and bad. So lesson number 1, acceptance of what you cannot control. Lesson 2, the power of perspective, viewing it from a different angle. Lesson 3, mindfulness, stay in the moment, stay present. Lesson 4, virtues, self-discipline, integrity, the small steps that improve you every day and learning, things like this. Dynamism, lesson 5, accept change as a positive, accepting that the world is chaotic and full of change. Contentment, lesson 6, being happy about what you have as opposed to what other people have. Joy in the simple pleasures. Lesson 7, calmness, keep calm and bring a towel. Much like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, use emotions constructively and not just off the cuff. Lesson 8, responsibility, personal responsibility, which means that you have to take responsibility for the lessons and things you do in life and learn from it. Lesson 9, wisdom, stay curious and learn all the time. Experiment, read, and learn. Apply what you learn to better yourself. Lesson 10, forgive people, forgive the mistakes that people do, and also moving on from mistakes that you made yourself and what other people also did to you. So, with an example of what applying these lessons could mean in today's environment, I'm going to use an office worker as an example. First, without, and then with. Using all these lessons, let's use an example to understand how they can be applied to a single person's day. An office worker is heading to work, steps in a piece of trash, and on the way to his work making his pants dirty. He was not paying attention. As he is cursing about his pants that was dirtied by the trash, his phone beeps with the important message that is related to his work. He misses the phone beeping and he misses the message. Earlier today he realized he was late getting to work and he missed both running his morning run and his breakfast. And now he's currently hungry and getting more out of breath every day while trying to get to work. He finally gets to work and he realizes they changed the floor plan of the building and there are new ways to sign into the building and get to where he needs to go for work. You now need a key card to go to certain floors, and this irritates him now that he's already late, but now that he has to go to a counter and have a key card made to access the section of his building. The woman at the counter hands him a delicious piece of fruit, but he doesn't actually eat it. He just throws it away and just, disrespects her offer. And even though the fruit actually looked pretty fresh, he thinks he doesn't have time for this. He's already late. He scolds the person there for being too slow to make the card, as he's already late for his job, which is technically his fault. Then as he gets to his floor on the building, he meets his coworker, in the place where he thought he was going because he missed the message earlier on. It turns out the message told him a different location, so like he basically had to rush to a different part of the building. And as he rushes to that different part of the building, he heads into the room, and then he ends up rushing into his boss, which he spills the coffee on that the boss is carrying as he bumps into them. Doesn't apologize, sits down at the meeting, and basically they talk about important changes and things and approaches. And while this is going on, he's not being attentive. He's not paying attention to the meeting because he's still thinking about the fact what is going on, like on the day, how everything has gone wrong, the piece of trash that he stepped in earlier, and how the lady was rude at the counter, and even though that she technically wasn't, and now that he spilled coffee on his boss, so he missed most of it because he was thinking about this. He wasn't paying attention to this, and after it all, basically the boss being fed up with his performance over a while, him being late today and his incorrect handling of things during to the fact that he wasn't paying attention to his current to this current meeting. The boss ends up firing him, which he was gonna do anyways. He loses his temper during this firing process later on in the day, and he basically insults her, because people are easy to apply blame to other people. They project blame onto other people, and so he leaves angrily now that he's unemployed, and then he thinks all of this is the boss's fault. Really, he goes into a downward spiral. He walks home, and his dog that he has at home like tries to like cheer him up, but he's in no mood, and he just picks up his phone, and he intends to write a message to his ex. And as he writes basically a message to his ex, he's thinking about the previous day, and like he's in a bad mood, so he writes a message that like they used to be so good together, and that she's a bitch for not wanting to be with him anymore. And then he goes to bed at the end of the day thinking that now he's unemployed and the world is shit and everything, and like and he cries himself to sleep basically. Now, let's examine this from the other side. This is applying the lessons, which stoically was kind of like these lessons was used by Stoics or pondered by Stoics back in the day, how to apply it into a way that is not like, uh, shall we say, a more controlled, a more calm, and a more accurate way of living your life. So he wakes up realizing he's late for work. He starts thinking about that and he missing his morning routine, but he knows that it's not prudent to dwell on these things, and so he continues this with his day. And that later on, when he steps on the piece of trash, he just looks at the trash and thinks, "Oh well," removes it from his clothes, cleans his clothes, tries to clean what he can, and he hears the phone. He looks at the message and find out, oh, it's a message from work. Well, basically, he needs to go to a different part of the building, and he knows now that, oh, he knows this information. So because he was paying attention, he now doesn't waste extra time. So he arrives at the counter. He goes in the building, and he arrives at the counter, and he has to get a new key card basically, and he's not really stressed, so he asks calmly and politely for a pass. The lady there offers him some fruit. He takes a bite out of the fruit, and he because he didn't really have any breakfast, so he's a little bit hungry. So therefore, like a piece of fruit is kind of a nice little thing to do. So it's a very fresh piece of fruit. So he takes a bite out of it, and as he's eating it, while he's waiting for his card, he kind of eats the fruit and remembers, his grandmother's pies that she used to make, and it's like memories sometimes can remind you when you eat a certain uh, flavor. It reminds him of his grandmother, and then he's very tasty, and he's calm and collected while waiting for his card, and like it's been a long time since he's thought about his grandmother, and then he thinks maybe I should go to her graveyard and put some flowers on her grave because she's passed away not too long ago. So thinking about all of this, well, the lady finishes his card, hands it to him, and asks if he wants more of the fruit because she sees he's enjoying the fruit and is like thinking, pondering about the fruit. And he turns to her and asks for the whole bowl, and she's like, "Oh, that's weird, but you know what? Like this is like for the entire office, so she has a lot of fruit there." And she's like, "Oh yeah, I'll put it in a bag for you." And then she hands it to him, smiling, saying, "Here, have a great day," or whatever she does. And he thanks the lady. He would have been a lot later to arrive if he hadn't actually read this message on his phone, but now he's still late, but he's less late because he actually read the message. He still bumps into his boss at the door, spilling coffee over them. He apologizes immediately for the coffee, say, calmly collected, and says, "Oh, it's my fault, I bumped into you." And then he explains his morning routine, that he missed it, and he didn't have any breakfast, and then he was late here, and he rushed as much as he could to get here. And then he asks the boss if the boss wants some fruit, and hands him some of the fruit. So hence the person some of their fruit, and of course the boss is still annoyed being spilled on with some coffee. They sort of take it and they continue into the meeting. So sitting down in the meeting, he's focused at the meeting. He's not hungry. He's not thinking about what's going on. He's in the zone. He's there, and he learns the new principles, information that they're trying to teach him in the meeting. Um, his boss, however, is still fed up with his performance, like recently, and which has nothing to do with today, but like kind of like through this process of him working there, for other reasons. He was polite today, and took responsibility and everything, but she still wants to fire him, and but the boss still wants to fire him, and then does so. But now he's feeling a bit more worse for having, you know, fired him, because he handled it fairly well today. He tried his best today, and as he gets fired, though, he merely accepts that like literally this is just not no longer his job, and he's learned a lot here, and now he's free to pursue other jobs and ambitions. He thanks the boss basically because it was not really the boss's fault, and says that he doesn't hold any malice, and that in fact that he was wanting a job change, and maybe this is a chance to pursue something closer to his heart, and the boss is relieved and grateful for, like, for a much smoother firing process. And he doesn't blame the bosses. This is not really the boss's fault. It's just he done performed, these recent days, or maybe his breakup or something, like, kind of like affected him. But he comes home, and his dog at home jumps at him, and he's like all happy to see his master at home, and he just, of course, like, takes in the embrace of the dog because it's nice and all. And, he pets his dog, and he picks up his phone, and he decides to write a message to his ex while petting the dog. Also, um, saying that basically he's missing her, and they were always good together, but that he lost his job just now, but that doesn't even matter. But if she wants to, he would like to invite her out to dinner, and talk. But and and maybe hang out, since he regrets that the relationship didn't work out, and that he would pay for dinner. So he leaves the phone on the table, goes to make some dinner for his evening, and focuses on this as he makes dinner to make a nice dinner, and then he updates his job profile by doing this. And as he's doing all this, he basically uh hears a beep from the phone, but he continues to make his dinner and finishes up his profile for, like, circuit seeking some new work. But he reads the message, and basically, while he's going to bed, he's reading this message, but that the message says that she would like to have some dinner with him. In fact, she said, "I'd love to have some dinner," and then he falls asleep, not upset, not scared, but with his dog in his mind, and the possibilities of what is in the future, a new job, maybe even a chance to patch up with his ex. So this example is very on the money, but which day would you rather have? There is also a very good chance that the boss may regret their choices later on and realize that he wasn't that bad after all, but willing to take him back. And at that point, he'll have the option to decline or take another job. Either way, consider the lessons or how they apply to these two examples. I've been in Silenos, and I think I've always been a Stoic. Check out the video that gave me the idea to make this video for more in-depth understanding of the principles, where they came from, and subscribe. Like and share this video with a friend. Peace.